and with your kid, you're like, hey, Eskimo, where's that iceberg? And it's melting. You go, yeah, what the fuck? I paid $4,200 to bring my son to see an iceberg. He always wanted to see an iceberg. So it goes much farther than you think, you know what I mean? It's not just an iceberg melting, it's a child's dream gone sour, you know? But I would, here's another thing that's bad about hanging yourself in the neck until dead while whacking off. By the way, that's not the scientific term. The scientists call it, they have another, the fancy words they call it, like whacking off while hanging yourself in the neck until dead. But really all they're doing, they're just inverting the fucking doctors and scientists. What about when doctors do shit like fucking just use big fancy words? Like you'll go to a doctor and go, God damn, doc, I'm tired all the time. I got this fucking thing. What is it? He goes, you got chronic fatigue syndrome. You go, what the fuck is that? They go, chronic, that means always. And fatigue means you're tired. And syndrome is some fucking thing you got. So anyway, pay the nurse on the way out. $120. It costs $120. But anyways, forget the fancy language. What it really is just hang yourself in the neck until dead while whacking off. Now, the problem with this is that, if you die, and people always go, hey, what happens, the eternal question, what happens after you die? Well, the first thing that happens is you are found. And you are generally by your loved ones. So the last thing you want is your loved ones to find you and then go, ah, gross. What the fuck? That's not what you want them to be sad when they find you. Profoundly sad, so sad that they never get over it. That's what I'd like. I'd like them to just be so sad they spend the fucking rest of their life talking about me. But the last thing you want is them to go, that's no... They're liable to put that in your headstone, go, Norm, They forget that you took them to Disneyland and shit like that, and bought them a nice balloon and everything. Because memory is not a motion picture, it's just a snapshot of like that. So, if I were ever to, and listen, I'm just flesh, I'm not, I can't predict the future, I like to think that I follow the scriptures and wouldn't do it, but who knows, it's in my family and it's possible. But I don't think I would do the whacking off thing, but I don't know. Again, you can't, you never know what's ahead of you. And I may wake up one day and go, God damn, I'd like to have one of them orgasms that is, 3/2 times as powerful as the one I had the Wednesday before last. I have one every second Wednesday. So, because I'm not perfect, who knows, right? But what I would do if I did it, I would be very concerned about being found, because I don't want to be found, and then people go, my loved ones, gross. I want them to find me and go, mysterious. So, what I would do is, I would camouflage it, as an actual suicide. Therefore, if I was found out, then I would get the proper response, and I'd set it all up, and I'd write a suicide note and stuff like that, and it would be, I don't know what I would put in the suicide note, because I don't really have a beef about anything. But, what if you just blame somebody at random just for like you're a barber or something like that? It was all Jim Abernathy's fault. Because then the police would be impelled to go to Abernathy's barbershop. They go, you ever hear of a fella named Norm? Go, yeah, he used to trim his hair every couple of months. Yeah. Well, anyways, he took his life because of you. Says here on this note. Well, goodbye. And then Abernathy's like, oh my Lord God, what? I have to spend the rest of my life retracing my life up to the time that I started retracing. No, don't do that. Don't really do that. That's not a good prank. What am I saying? It's a terrible prank. That may be one of the worst pranks. Whatever. That's the kind of prank gets you raped by the devil. You know? I know, there's no devil, I forgot. I'm one of those idiots that believe there's a devil. I probably shouldn't talk about it, but I am a Christian, you know. It used to be, when I was young, everybody be a Christian. There'd be nothing shameful in it, you know what I mean? Like you just say, what are you? People go, I'm a Methodist. You go, what are you, fucking retarded? I'm an Anglican. But everybody be a Christian. But now you say you're a Christian, you may as well say you're a retard. I mean, you know, I see the looks in people's eyes. And people always like, Christians go, why do you have to fucking tell me about it? That's what their big complaint is about Christianity, which I never fucking understood. Because here's the thing. If you're a Christian, right, why the fuck would you want to tell everybody else? It's fucking retarded that you would think that you would want to keep that to yourself. You'd be a very bad person. You understand what I'm saying? It's like, you know, I mean, you wouldn't complain if a fucking guy showed up with some gold and shit, and, you know what I mean, say, hey, here's a bunch of fucking bars of gold. Well, get the fuck out of here with your gold. Just because you think gold's valuable? Why the fuck you try and give me gold? You know, of course Christians should do that, you know? I don't want to, listen, I don't want to, you think I want to fucking tell people about that shit? Last thing I want to do, you know, you tell people and then pretty soon you don't get invited to no parties and I don't really do it, you know. I'm a bad Christian because I don't proselytize, which you have to do as a Christian, you know. You have to be evangelical, but I'm a bad Christian and I'm cowardly, you know? And to tell you the truth, in my, like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I would rather, to tell you the honest truth, I would rather be up in a cloud playing the harp and shit like that, and watching all my friends getting fucking ass fucked by the devil. And you know, the devil's got a cloven hoof over, fucking shoving brimstone up his fucking nose while he ass fucks him, and then all his demons like fucking shoving bucketfuls of coal up the guy's asshole and shit. Devil don't fuck around. Devil's rape is fucking crazy. It's not like actual rape. It's not like date rape or shit. No, it's exactly the same. I'm sorry. I almost said something wrong there. But and I'll tell you something else. You know, being Christian. It's funny, you know, that people's beliefs, because everybody, you gotta believe some shit, right? Because what the fuck, nothing, there's nothing that's proven. I think there's maybe 2 things or something like that. But, no, I'm talking in physics, and I'm not even sure if those are proven, but you gotta believe some shit that you just make up in your fucking head, you know what I mean? Like you go, hey man, family's important. What the fuck, you just made that up? Everything's made up. How the fuck is family important? Why the fuck would your child be important? You know, not important at all. You're just making it up. So, you gotta make up something. Why not make up a fucking super cool thing? You know what I mean? Instead of going, fuck, I'm going to live in the cycle of life, and when I die, then I become a fucking, you go, that's your reward? You're a turnip or some fucking thing? So, anyways, what my point was that we've reached a point now where if you say you're a Christian, of course people think you're a retard. However, you can believe other supernatural things, and nobody calls you a retard. For instance, like fucking, what do you call that? Astrology. People go like, hey, what are you? You go, I'm a Libra. That means you're happy, right? But sometimes are you sad? And then you go, yeah, that's true. I always wondered why that was. Why is it that sometimes I'm happy, but once in a while I'm sad? And then the guy go, I'll tell you why, because Saturn. The planet Saturn. You go, really? You go, yes. See, I've taken the day you were born and I've put it on the chart of, I've gone to the trouble of charting the universe. I have it here on my drafting table, and I see that the day you were born, Saturn's coaxial orbit was off by a half a degree. Anyways, what happened was it cast a shadow on one of the moons of June. Anyway, the point is, are you sometimes a sad person, but usually happy? And then you're like, yep. Nice to meet you, lady. But nobody fucking calls them retard. Yeah, I believe some crazy shit. Or you may as well take a gun. Boom. Do a little Russian roulette. I like Russian roulette. That's for people who are 1/6 possible. They're 1/6 suicidal. But listen, enough of this grimness. It's getting a little grim. I don't believe in death, you know? I'm against the death penalty. That's one of my only opinions, I think. And I don't really know if I am. But I am for now. Basically, it's whatever the last person I heard. That's where I get my opinion. I watch the TV and I go, that fucker makes sense. I'll be like that for a few days. But no, I was thinking about that death penalty shit, and I was thinking, you know how, like, the crime always seems so small. Not it's a heinous crime and shit, but it's always like some weird, like a guy go to a filling station and shit, and he like kills a guy in cold blood, and then he steals $35 and a jar of cashew nuts or something, and Japanese TV, and then he fucking takes off and shit. And then the guy lays dead, and then he goes, and then he's caught, because they always brag, you know, these guys. They always boast about it. You know, they wait a few days. They wait a few days until the heat's off. You know? Then they'll be at a bar and go, hey, you know that filling station, that guy? Yeah, I killed him. That was me. And then, so they get caught, and then they bring him, you know, and they have a trial and shit, and everybody knows the guy's guilty because there's all cameras now and everything like that. And then the guy goes to court, you know, goes to court, and it's kind of a foregone conclusion. He's clearly guilty, everybody knows it and shit, but they go through the pretense and stuff. And then at the end they go, okay, well, you're guilty, and you got anything to say for yourself? And then the guy's like, huh? It's like, you got anything to say for yourself? Would you like to say anything before we have our verdict, you know, or what we're going to do to you? And the guy goes, yeah, what do I... Oh, yes, my father fucked me when I was a kid. Does that count? And the judge is like, no, that has nothing to do. And the guy's like, sorry. A guy told me that this is important anyway. Sorry. Well, if I can say one more thing, Your Honor, my father didn't fuck me when I was a kid. Just want to get that on the record because he's going to have enough trouble in life, my father, now that his son was, you know, killed a guy. So, anyways, then they take the guy and they they have his verdict, and not his verdict, but his punishment. Now, the punishment is for those things is either life or death. So it's clear what the guy wanted. They're polar opposites, direct opposites. I don't like saying polar opposites because, to me, the poles are very similar. You know what I mean? Like if you were to drop a motherfucker in the South Pole and shit, go, where are you? He goes, is it the North Pole? No, it's the South Pole. So I would say like the polar sameness. If I had any fucking, if I had any say on the OED, which I don't. But so I say it's the direct opposite. Life, death. What could be more of a stark difference than those two things? So clearly the guy is hoping for life, and then they go, hey, you got death. And the guy's like, that was by far my second choice. And the judge goes, anyways, we're going to take you to a place. He has a big speech, and then they will put you in a chair and fry you to death and all this stuff. And then the weirdest part of me is they give you like a final meal, like that's supposed to be like a little consolation prize for you. I think it makes the judge feel better, because it's tough for the judge. He's like, listen, Jack Henry Johnson. They always have 3 names. Look, listen. And he's like, well, Jack Henry Johnson. People always just call me Jack. Say, listen, Jack Henry Johnson. Here's the thing. There's good news and bad news. We're going to fry you in a chair until your fucking head blows out. But the other thing is this. You like lobster? Because there's a joint right beside the state prison. I took my wife Hazel there for her birthday every year, and she loves it. And she says, try the cheesecake because it's absolutely to die. Forget about that, but she loves the cheesecake. You should eat the cheesecake. And then the guy's like, oh, he's happy for a little. Then they take him away and they put him on death row, which is not a fun place. I've never been there, but I would imagine, because it's, first of all, everybody else is dying, so they're on death row too, so you got nobody to complain to or anything, Nobody's going to have any sympathy for you. You go, they're going to kill me. Like, me too, you fucker, that's all you hear all day long. And then all the lights go out, you're like, they killed another guy. And Mike Farrell's yammering outside your fucking cell, and you can't get any sleep and shit. All you can think about, because when you're in that position, all you got's that little tiny cell, and it's just you and regret. That's the only 2 things in your cell, you and regret. And I mean, that's everybody. That's all of us. Is just us and regret. But this is more focused, This is more just the guy going, I don't even like cashews that much. I don't know what the fuck else.
He was like 38 probably.
$35 doesn't go as far as it used to. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. And then, so then the appeals become exhausted, and then it's the day before you're gonna fucking die, and then they bring your family in to visit you, as if that's gonna be fun, You think Thanksgiving's fucking uncomfortable, huh? How'd you like your whole family showing up the fucking day before you're gonna die? So they all fucking show up. You're like, yeah, hey, Uncle Fred, what's going on with you? And he's like, well, the young boy's just did his first recital. Yeah, I don't give a fuck. I'm dying tomorrow. We're only gonna talk about me. How about that? How'd that be? Keep your hands off that fucking pizza. God damn. So then they take you to the death chamber, and they walk you walk your last mile, which is a long way. I don't know why. I don't know why they made it a mile, but whatever. because these hardened criminals, they're not in great shape. That's why they got into hardened crime in the first place, so they could have, they're very lazy people, and so a mile might be a short distance for a big, burly prison guard that trained by going over rope ladders and shit. But for a hardened criminal in shackles, it's a long way. So he's walking down his last mile, and who does he have beside him? A pastor, and that's the last motherfucker he wants, He wants a whore or something like that. He got nothing to say. This guy got nothing in common with him or shit, And he's like, God damn. I mean, we already did the talk back there. Why the fuck? We only got a mile left. You got any stories? Nothing, anything interesting at all? Did you ever fuck a kid or anything like that? Nah, I never did that. A lot of my friends did that. That was an interesting story. But then they get to the death chamber, and then they go, here's the chair. Going, God damn, the chair. And then you sit in the chair. Now your only hope at this point is they got a phone, and the governor never phones, but pretend like maybe the governor will phone and shit. And then the guys in the chair is like, hey man, did the phone just ring? I thought I heard the phone ring. The guy's like, no. Everybody says that. It's just some kind of trick of the ear. I don't know. But anyways, here's a bunch of guys that are gonna watch you die, and then it's all victims of the family and shit like that. And I don't know what happens after that. I think you go to heaven. There's a happy ending. I gotta think of an ending. It's not really a thing. I was just thinking about it the other day. It's not a fully functional joke. But anyways, that wasn't my point. My point I was trying to make was about my friend who was a vegetarian. Get off track. Grim, but now it's not going to be grim anymore. It's going to be beautiful because it's about ethical considerations. So I was not a vegetarian, right? But my friend Lori Jo, talked me into it because I realized all of a sudden that I was wrong. That's what I was trying to get to. She was right, and I was wrong. And I realized it because her arguments were so much stronger than mine. Like she would go, you cannot, kill one of God's other creatures, no less or no more than you, just to sate your evil appetite. You can't confine and torture an animal inside of a cage so that you might lilies of the field could give you an equal sustenance. And then I go, I like pork. That was my opinion. My argument was not nearly as strong as hers. So I surrendered. I surrendered to it, and the upshot of it is I am now a vegetarian, which is cool. And I'm not a strict vegetarian. I eat pork, but she told me it's baby steps. This is a very long process, You don't have to jump into it right away. And so I'm a pescatarian. I eat fish because fuck 'em, it's fish. So fish and pork and chicken and beef is about all. Other than that, I'll tell you what I don't eat. I don't eat vegetables. So it's a start. I'm not a strict vegetarian. In the strictest sense of the word, strict. The strictest sense of the word strict. I can't hardly be called a strict vegetarian. If you take the strictness of the word strict, then the strictinarian sense of strict would disallow me from calling myself a strict vegetarian. But, what I really like is freshly killed wild game. I don't know if you've ever eaten that. Like not cooked, but right after it's been killed in the forest, and then you run up, you're like, ah! And that to me is the taste. Sometimes it's not even dead yet. Like you're like, ah! And then you hear like a death throes coming out. It makes you hungrier. Like, ah! You got fawn blood and shit all over. And you can taste the viscera in your mouth. It's so, I can't explain it, but like which sounds better, that or a bowl of soybeans? You know, you gotta have a little adventure, you know? But no, I ethically, strongly believe in vegetarian. I'm an amazing person, and I'll tell you why. I very much believe in vegetarianism, and yet I don't practice it at all. I have the ability to do that. A lot of people don't have the capacity. But I do that with many, many things. I believe one thing with all my heart, and then I do the exact opposite. No, it's true. My hypocrisy knows no bounds. So, you know, when I tell you I'm a Christian and so forth, you know, it's not from a standpoint of self-righteousness or everything. You know, I'm a wretched sinner. You know, I'm just an old chunk of coal that, you know, I want to be a diamond someday, but I don't think I'll make it probably, you know. People think of Christians as self-righteous, but most of us are not. Most of us are, we know what bad people we are. For instance, like, you know, the country's like 80% Christian and shit. We still eat apples. That's on page 2. You know what I mean? And I like apples as much as the next guy, but like I eat Rome apples, you ever eat them? And, Macintosh. I'm Canadian, so I like a nice Macintosh apple. Whatever. Red Delicious. I don't like the name Red Delicious personally because I find it arrogant. It's not the apple, the name itself, but you know, wherever they name the apple, at the Apple Naming Commission Board, or whatever, you guys would know more than I do. It's being inside the Beltway, but I call it the Apple Naming Commission Board. So, I don't know how this motherfucker got to name his apple Red Delicious, but whatever. Like, they're like, Bill, what are you going to name your apple? I'm going to name it Rome. Why is that? On account of Gertrude and I went to Rome last month, and it was beautiful. It's the Eternal City, you know, or City of Light, some fucking thing. And it was a beautiful city, old things. And I thought that if I put a sticker that said Rome on the apple, after the feller ate the apple, he'd still see that sticker, and maybe he'd think, I'll go to Rome one day. I'd like to give back, you know, from my Apple Empire. What about you? And the guy goes, I named mine Macintosh. Why is that? That's because of old Jim McIntosh, a young man that I grew up with, and he was. I'll tell you about. If I could just tell you a little about Jim McIntosh, and I don't want to hold up the whole Apple naming board, but Jim McIntosh was a man of dreams and hopes, but none of them were ever realized. He was a man ruled, I think, by fear, really. And I remember him bent, and it was not from osteoporosis or osteoarthritis or any sort of spinal problem. It was almost a bent of the soul, where he would always be looking down, and he looked down, and you know, he saw the world as from, he found things, you know, he said over his lifetime, change loose change in the matter of $34.05. He bragged often of the time he found the pocket watch. But he never looked up, and so he missed the firmament, and he missed the brow of a child's nose. And, he missed so much. But I was at his deathbed, and I asked old Jim McIntosh, I said, Jim, do you have any regrets in life? And he said only regrets. And it made me sad. And I was sad for him. And then came the fear and the trembling and the black bile. And then old Jim was no more. Anyways, I thought I'd put McIntosh on the apple so that people would know that this man had once trod the earth. And anyways, what are you calling yours there, Billy? I'm calling mine Red Delicious. Wait, what the fuck? That doesn't seem fair. I already did it. It's in the stores. But that's not fair. Why? You can't see why that's not fair? Hey, Sammy, I know you're a smart man, and you don't understand that you calling your apple Red Delicious, you don't think maybe there's a danger that people... Our apples are red. People are naturally going to infer that they're not delicious. That never occurred to you. Well, I find that... What's that? Fuck me? Fuck you. I'm the guy trying to get you to kick off the apple board naming thing. I may as well say it. No, but that's not my point. My point is this. No, my point is this. How about this, though? Because I love women probably more than any of the genders. But I don't like women that hurt me. I don't think anyone likes a woman that hurts them. I don't think anyone has that big a heart. And I believe the woman that hurt me most in my life was Eve. You remember her? Because... like I have a disc that's herniated, and it goes all the way from here all the way down to my ankle, and it hurts like a motherfucker. And anyway, my pastor was telling me that it was Eve, because if it wasn't for Eve, I'd be living in a garden. And I love gardens, and I would be living forever in gardens, hanging out. But, just my luck that the first lady that ever lived was a fucking retard. And page two. Page 1, God's like, hey, listen, you got everything in the world that you want, except once in a while I come down and I'll talk to you and shit, and I like apples. And so I'm going to have one tree. That's just for me. I eat my apples. Just leave that fucking tree alone. And anything else you want, you got next page, Eve. Apple all over her fucking face and shit. And Adam comes up and goes, what the fuck are you... Is that a pear? Tell me that's a pear. Is that like a Bartlett pear or something like that? Apple, what? You want one? Yeah, I guess now, I guess. May as well fucking see what the big deal is. Couldn't be fucking more retarded. And Adam's like, why the fuck did you do that? I mean, I still love you, honey, and everything like that, but goddamn, man. What the hell you do that for? And she's like, oh, because Snake told me. Like, I knew there was a good reason. I didn't understand that a dangerous viper weighed into the subject. What a fucking idiot is that? But, and I don't even care if you're religious. You could be whatever those guys are, Hitchens or Harris or fucking Thucydides or whatever the fuck his name is. You could be the most unbelieving person that ever lived, You can be the greatest atheist of all time. Would you ever take advice from a fucking snake? I wouldn't. Even if it was like a snake-related question. I wouldn't even take. I don't trust him. But listen, did I waste all that motherfucking time? I did, huh? Yeah. But listen, now the biggest thing is this. We got to look after the world, because the world. No, I don't give a fuck about the world, really. I'll be honest with you. I'm 2-8, as you say inside the Beltway. I say 48, but I know how you guys love me. 2-8. I don't have much time left. Maybe a score, maybe a score and a half a score or something like that. I'll be gone. Now, I'm not going to worry about the world, which I think is like 4 billion years old or something. I'm not going to fuck about the world. I don't even fucking know what it is. Like, I know, like, there's pictures of the world, like you see in textbooks where they cut it in half, as if they can do that. And then it shows, like, there's crusts, and then in the middle there's a big bunch of fire or something. Anyway, you're supposed to believe it, but I don't. Because just in my experience, my world that I deal with is just a big round ball of dirt. Because I've shoveled. You ever take a shovel? See what you find. Tell me what you find. I don't care how deep. You don't even get hotter. It's so much of filthy dirt that I'm supposed to care about. But anyways. And I don't trust scientists, I'll tell you that. Everybody's like, oh, the scientists, global things and ecology. The scientists, they know everything. But meanwhile, look at the past. All we can learn from is the past. So remember in the old, there'd be a scientist go like, the sun goes around the earth. And everybody go, God damn, that's a smart motherfucker. He's the best scientist in the whole world. Meanwhile, I know more than him, this fucker. I'm a retard, and I know more than that guy. And like even Sir Isaac Newton, he's like, I can turn lead into gold. And I'm like, what, are you fucking retarded? I am smarter than fucking Isaac Newton. Isn't that amazing? So all the scientists throughout history have always been wrong, and yet we now think that all the scientists now are right. Isn't that sort of flawed logic? Doesn't it seem quite possible that in 500 years scientists will go, God damn, it's good we burned down that fucking rainforest. Why people are trying to save that fucker? That's where all the spiders and snake lives and shit.
Yeah.
That's where that snake flu started that almost took us all out. What the fuck were they thinking? And even if it's true, I don't fucking care. Like, I don't care, like, about future generations, really. Like, I'll be honest with you. Like, people go like, the children are the future. But when I was young, they said that too, about me. I was the children. And then I grew up, I'm like, here I am. They go, now it's the other children. I'm like, oh, well. This is the fucking Ponzi scheme I gotta exist in? It's always about the next motherfuckers? So, I don't give a fuck. And so I am not going to, I don't have a big enough heart to, so, they have the orange and the green garbage things. And so then you crunch up cans and shit, and you go, I put it in the orange one. And because of the future, and I don't give a fuck about future people. Personally, like people 1,000 years hence and shit, I couldn't give a fuck about them. First of all, they get to live in the future, and I'll be dead. So maybe I'm selfish, but I care more about myself, and I don't want to be fucking. I only got a score and a half a score. I don't want to be on my fucking deathbed, you know, going. First of all, I don't think I'm going to purchase a deathbed. I mean, I know they're cheaper and everything, but you get what you pay for. But I don't want to be. The point is, I don't want to be on my deathbed going, God damn, I crunched up a lot of fucking cans. What the fuck was I thinking about? I could have been watching Matlock and shit. So, and also, I don't care about the future people. Like, people that live 1,000 years, you know, I can't bring myself, I don't have a big enough, you know, like, I can't be going, fucking crunching up cans, orange, garbage cans. Norm, what are you doing? I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm crunching up cans. Why is that? I'll tell you why. Because on account of last night, I was thinking about the future people. You know the people that you can't imagine imagining. You know who I'm talking about. Anyways, I was thinking, these poor motherfuckers, they're not going to have enough fuel for their jetpacks. So I'm going to spend the rest of my life doing this shit. Fuck it. Fuck the world. That's not a good ending. But, but listen, man. I have the pale Nazarene on my side, so I got no fucking problems. No, but listen, man. I don't believe in a lot of shit. I'll tell you this. When I watch the news, I don't really understand it. You know, like that'll come on, go NASDAQ, S&P 500, go down, and then I go, that's bad. I go, I like when it goes up. You know, that's my. They're flashing me like a motherfucker back there. They want me off bad. Because other people actually come in. Listen, I wish I could fucking talk to you forever. Honestly. But I will say this, though. I don't know what I was talking about. Oh, I was going to tell you about what I feel is the most imminent danger to our society. And again, I don't, you know, I'm not Bill Maher, you know. Sometimes I pretend to be him, but I'm not. No, I'm not Josh Billings, and I don't pretend to be. No. But I will say this about the state of the world. I am not afraid of Iran. I'm not afraid of Iraq. I'm not afraid of North Korea. You know, I'm not afraid of it. Because it does not make it flies in the face of common sense to me. Like North Korea, I hear on the news, I'm supposed to be afraid, they're like, ooh, it'll send a fucking, North Korea. First of all, I'm like, didn't they fucking figure that out in MASH like 30 fucking years ago? Like, why do I have to watch that fucking piece of shit show? But, I'm not afraid of North Korea because it don't make no sense to me. Like, I have a globe at home, right? So I decided one day, I said, I'm going to find out where this country is that I'm supposed to be deathly afraid of. Cut to 90 minutes later, I'm like, so it's like a little tiny, it's about that big. That's the thing I'm supposed to be frightened of. A little tiny country. It's so small, this country, that the words North Korea don't fit on the country. It's all bleeding over into Laos or whatever. So I'm not afraid of that. So I am not afraid of these countries like Iran, Iraq, and North Korea. There is one country that I feel is very frightening, and no one seems to be talking about it, but it is the country of Germany. This country, I don't know if you guys are students of history, but in the early 20th century, Germany decided to wage war. They waged war against the world. So, and then it was like close. You figure it'd take like a day, the world would just fucking kill Germany. But it actually went on and for 4 years. So then they almost won, I think. I don't know. But, so then the world said, okay, Germany, fucking stop. Okay, enough of that shit. Don't do that no more. 30 years pass, fucking Germany decides to wage war again, and again they wage war against the world. And this time, I think it was even closer because they had that Hitler guy, and I don't give a fuck what you say. I don't like him. So he tried to take over, and he almost won, I think. Which thank God he didn't, because then we'd all be like, "Crankly, crankly!" We'd have to talk like that. And it's hard enough to get a lady to let you lie down on top of her. And you start talking like that. So then at that point, you would think the world would go, okay, fuck it, Germany, you don't get to be a country anymore. What the fuck are you doing? You can't keep attacking the world. What the fuck, you think you're on Mars or something? You know, so if we remember our history, there's that famous saying, you remember, condemn to history, and forget about the past and all that shit. I'm just saying that, every 40 years ago or so, that Germany gets a little testy. So I'd watch the counters. Fuck the Mayans and what are they called? The Mayans? You're like, wow, those Mayans, fucking, they knew shit. Meanwhile, they're all dead. They never predicted that. They never predicted the end of the world was actually a long time ago. But anyways, I'm way over time. But listen, and I haven't even started. I forgot to tell a joke. But hey, I will tell you a joke on account of this. I think it's in my contract. So, but this is a joke that my English teacher, who was a great man, he fucked me, but he was a man. But he taught me language, and I'll never forgive him for that. But this is a joke he told me, and it's a knock-knock joke, so you guys it'll be interactive. You know what I mean? So he taught me English, grammar, and Latin. So this was the joke he would tell me. Okay, knock knock. Who's there? Two. To whom? All right, listen, folks. God bless you. I love you, and thank you so much for listening to me.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Norm Macdonald. One more time for Stevie Ray Fromsey in the middle of the show, making you all laugh. Check him out, The Holy Atheist on Twitter.